Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I went through how I set up my reading journal for 2025. So I went through first and I drew everything out in pencil, and then to outline, I used my Papermate Flare pen that I have, and then to color everything in, I just used my Zebra midliners. So I started my reading journal off by doing my reference page. So I'm just really quickly gonna go through and tell you what my reference like stars are, so like how I rate books. So my 5 stars are books that I loved and I cannot stop thinking about, and I highly recommend them. And then 4 stars are also books that I loved, but they're not like books that I think about all the time, but they are books that I would recommend. And then 3 stars is that I liked it, but it's not a favorite, but I would still recommend that you read it if you want to. And then 2 star and 1 star are it was alright or I didn't like it. And they're not really books that I would recommend. And usually if I get down this far into a rating, I will just DNF a book. So I have a soft DNF, which just means I couldn't finish the book, but I'll come back to it. And then a hard DNF, which means I couldn't finish the book, but I will not be coming back to it. And then I went in and I drew my TBR card. So these are just like the books that I have on my TBR for the year. So I just drew out my TBR card and then I drew out the books. The top row are the books that I have on my list to read in 2025. The bottom row are books that I talked about in my books that I want to read in 2025 video. That I have like set aside that I want to read. And then the middle row are just any extra books that I choose during the months to read. So I think I drew about 12 books on each of these shelves in the TBR card. And then on the bottom, I just put the like ratings that I give the books and what color they are, so that when I go in and color the books, I can color code them to what I rated them. And then also here, this is just me drawing out my books, and my cat is in the way. So this is my series tractor. I didn't film myself like drawing the boxes and all the words. This is just me highlighting and filling in the boxes for all of my series that I have. And I also forgot to put the star next to the Heston Lake series. But I do have a star next to it just because it is one of the ones that I'm in the middle of, one of the series that I'm in the middle of. So I have 8 series total, 5 of which I'm in the middle of. I should be finishing Heston Lake maybe this year, not sure, and I left the ones that aren't out yet in pencil in case their names change. And then Hunger Games I will be finishing when Sunrise on the Reaping comes out. I'm not sure if I'm going to finish Magnolia Parks this year. If I do, it probably won't be until later in the year. Maple Hills, I am currently almost finished with Daydream, so I will be finishing that very soon. And then the Rebel Blue Ranch series I also plan on finishing when Wild and Wrinkled comes out in April. And then I just have the Dreamland Billionaires, the Naturals, and the Rose Hill series that I will be either starting this year. am maybe finishing, but I'll probably end up starting those series this year as well. I forgot to mention this for the Heston U, Heston Lake series, but I'll be finishing the ones that are out, not the whole series, just because there's still 4 books that she has planned that aren't out yet. And then here I'm just drawing out my monthly faves page, and I'll end up putting one book from each month that was my favorite of each month. And then here I'm just going through and drawing like the books on my bookshelf. I cut out a lot of the video of me drawing this just because it wasn't angled properly and it didn't look right. But these are just like the last 2 rows. I'm just going through and drawing all the books, and then I'm gonna go in and put the books that I have on my bookshelf, so like books that I own. I'm gonna write them all in on these books, and then I'm going to color in the ones that I've read and leave the ones that I haven't read blank. I actually ended up only being able to fit 102 books on this page, and I think I have about 150 in my collection, so I am gonna have to do another one of these pages either at the end. So unfortunately for the last clip I had to cut out a lot of it, and for this clip I have to leave it at normal speed, because every time I try to speed up the clips it comes out choppy. But here I'm just drawing out like the page looking box where I'll have my book information, and then above that I'm gonna have a spot for the cover of the book to go, and I'm just gonna have it like surrounded by the black brackets that I did on my monthly faves page as well. And then below the book info section I'm gonna have a spot for a synopsis of the book, and then I'm gonna use the highlighter color that I used to annotate the book to write out the title, and then also like highlight the synopsis, my review part, and the information for the book info every month. And then I'm obviously going to write my review below where I have the name of the book and the author. So I'm going to really quickly go through and do like a little flip through of my reading journal since it is finished now. So on the first page I just have my cover page, just says 2025 reading journal. And then I have on the next page just my reference page, so just how I rate books and what I consider a soft DNF and a hard DNF. And then I have my reading goals. And then after that I have my TBR cart, which is just all of the books on my TBR. Well, not all of the books, but the books on my TBR that I really want to read this year. And then my bookshelf, which I have colored in to show what books I've read and what books I haven't. And then my TBR cart for the year will also have a corresponding color for how I rated the book, for how high or how low I rated the book. And then after that, I have a DNF graveyard, which I didn't draw the gravestones just because I'm not going to do that until I have a DNF to put in there. And then on the next page, I have my series tracker. So those are all the series that I have either started or I'm in the middle of or I have yet to start. And I have 8 of those. And then on the next 2 pages, I have my monthly favorites. So that's going to be my favorite book from each month that I've read. And then I have my January cover page, which I'm just going to keep the cover pages basic for my months just because I don't feel like doing anything super special for them. And then I'm going to have my book reviews for the books I've read for the month. So for January, I have A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, Lost and Lassoed, and Swimming Lessons that I read. So I'll have a little synopsis of each of those there, and then just like when I started and finished it, the pages, how many pages, the format, the genre, when it was released, and how many stars I gave it, and then also my review on it. So those are those 2, and then I just have Swimming Lessons on the next page, which I already wrote my review for. I have to write my review for the other 2 still. And then I get into February, but I haven't finished February out yet, so that's all.